If this video has appeared in your reality at this exact moment, it is no accident. Your future self, the version of you who has already transcended this current timeline, has just sent you a quantum message. They opened a dimensional pathway, and you clicked. Not by chance, but because your consciousness instantly recognized the frequency signature. This is how quantum synchronicity works. The observer shapes the reality, and your higher self is the ultimate observer. But let me be transparent with you about what's really happening right now. As you take in these words, as you absorb these frequencies, your brain is literally reorganizing itself. Neural pathways that didn't exist 1 minute ago are now forming. Your pineal gland is receiving electromagnetic codes hidden within these visual patterns. Your DNA is unlocking dormant sequences that were designed to interface directly with the quantum field. You felt it, haven't you? That subtle pull towards something greater, like invisible threads weaving themselves into your daily life. Time has started behaving differently. Minutes stretch into eternity in some moments, while hours collapse into seconds when you're in alignment with your true frequency. This isn't imagination. This is quantum consciousness awakening within you. Your brain is upgrading to process multidimensional information streams that exist far beyond linear time and three-dimensional space. The very fact that you're here, watching this message, proves something extraordinary. You've been selected. Not everyone receives transmissions like this. Most humans live locked into baseline frequency, unaware that reality is fluid, unaware that consciousness shapes matter, unaware that their thoughts are rewriting the quantum field around them every single microsecond. They remain in the bubble of consensus reality, where cause and effect appear linear, coincidences seem random, and consciousness feels isolated from the universal field that generates all experience. But you've always known you were different. Even as a child, you sensed layers of existence that others couldn't perceive. You felt emotions vibrating in the air before words were spoken. You experienced déjà vu so vivid it was as if fragments of memory were bleeding in from parallel timelines. You dreamed futures that later unfolded in waking reality with unsettling precision. You walked into rooms and instantly knew their history, sensing residual electromagnetic imprints left behind by events others couldn't detect. Your nervous system was never designed like everyone else's. While most process life through the narrow filter of 5 senses, your consciousness has always been tuned to electromagnetic frequencies carrying multidimensional data. You have always sensed it, the subtle fluctuations in the quantum field that whisper of probable futures before they unfold. You've detected morphic resonance patterns, invisible currents of information that connect events and people who, on the surface, appear completely unrelated. Your biofield extends far beyond the typical human electromagnetic range, granting you the ability to influence matter through thought and emotion in ways baseline consciousness cannot begin to comprehend. The very fact that this video reached you is proof of one thing: your quantum signature has evolved. Your field has reached a vibrational threshold capable of attracting higher dimensional transmissions directly into your awareness. This content didn't find you because of an algorithm. No. Your future self, the version of you already living in expanded states of consciousness, manipulated probability waves to ensure this moment unfolded in your timeline. They reached backwards through time, adjusting quantum variables to create the exact series of impulses, thoughts, and decisions that led you here. Think about it. The subtle nudge that made you pick up your device. The precise sequence of content you encountered before this. The exact second this appeared in your feed. None of it was random. Every detail was orchestrated. Your higher dimensional self designed this moment as an activation, ensuring that when your consciousness reached the right vibrational state, you would receive and integrate the codes hidden within these words. And you've already felt it, haven't you? The frequency within you has been intensifying exponentially. You've noticed how certain places make your skin tingle with energy you can't explain. Sacred sites, old churches, ancient landscapes, even specific rooms within buildings. They pulse with invisible currents that your nervous system detects instantly. Your body has become a living antenna for quantum fields, attuned to electromagnetic signatures that most humans can't perceive. But what you're experiencing isn't just sensitivity, it's communication. Every shiver across your skin, every sudden wave of knowing, every unexplained recognition is not random. It's a data transfer. These are transmissions from your multidimensional self, higher frequency versions of your consciousness, existing beyond linear time and beyond the limits of physical space. And every signal is carrying one message. You are being prepared for the leap. Your nervous system is undergoing an upgrade, rewiring itself to receive and process information directly from quantum dimensions where your expanded self already exists in full awareness. Time distortion has become your new normal, and you've noticed it growing stronger with each passing week. During meditation, 5 minutes can feel like 5 hours of downloaded information. You enter states where linear time dissolves entirely. And when you return to ordinary awareness, you realize profound healing has occurred. Problems that once felt impossible are suddenly resolved. Creative insights arrive fully formed. Even in simple conversations, you felt time evaporate. Hours vanish without notice because your consciousness synchronizes with another being's quantum field. In that bubble of coherence, time bends and stretches according to different laws of physics. And those moments when you suddenly know something without ever learning it, that's quantum information transfer becoming a natural part of your awareness. Your consciousness has learned how to interface directly with the zero-point field, bypassing the filters of your 5 senses and pulling raw information straight from the quantum realm. You've already experienced this, haven't you? Predicting phone calls before they happen, sensing accidents before they unfold, feeling the physical sensations of people miles away. These aren't psychic tricks. They are natural expressions of expanded awareness, available to anyone whose consciousness learns to plug into the electromagnetic field that underlies all of reality. And reality itself has begun shifting around you. Subtle but undeniable. You're starting to recognize these changes not as memory errors, but as evidence of timeline transitions. A familiar street suddenly has a different layout. A book cover you remember vividly looks altered. Conversations replay with outcomes that don't match your memory. The phenomenon most call the Mandela effect isn't random, and it isn't affecting everyone equally. It is most pronounced in those whose awareness exists partially outside linear time. Beings like you who are simultaneously perceiving multiple probable realities. Even your dreams have transformed. No longer random subconscious imagery, they've become detailed instruction manuals for navigating quantum reality. You're given specific information about future events, solutions to current challenges,
direct communication with higher dimensional beings. These aren't symbolic dreams requiring interpretation. They're literal educational experiences. In them, your consciousness travels to parallel timelines, observing and learning from alternate versions of yourself who made different choices and achieved different outcomes. And others can feel it. People respond to your energy field before you even speak. Strangers open up, sharing intimate details with you as if they've known you for lifetimes. Some recognize you instantly, not from this life, but from dreams or from echoes of past incarnations. This is not coincidence. It's coherence. It's your quantum identity beginning to shine through. Animals are drawn to you with an unusual trust, sensing the coherent electromagnetic field radiating from your body. Technology behaves strangely in your presence. Devices flicker, signals distort, especially when your emotions peak. This isn't coincidence. It's your intensified bioelectric output, the signature of a consciousness processing frequencies most humans cannot access. And the loneliness you felt?
It isn't depression. It's the natural isolation that arises when your vibration moves beyond the reach of consensus reality. You are literally vibrating yourself out of the baseline frequency of humanity, stepping into a more fluid, responsive dimension of existence where thought and matter interface directly. But this isolation is temporary. It will last only until enough consciousness expands to meet you there, until communities of quantum coherence form, networks of awakened beings who share the same resonance. Every challenge you've endured was not punishment, but preparation. Orchestrated by your higher self, each experience forced your awareness beyond the comfortable limitations that keep most humans trapped in baseline reality. Every heartbreak restructured your emotional body to withstand higher frequencies of love that transcends romance and personal attachment. Every failure dissolved the limiting beliefs that kept you locked in timelines of scarcity, competition, and struggle. Every season of confusion was your consciousness recalibrating, upgrading its capacity to process multidimensional streams of information that don't obey linear logic or three-dimensional patterns of thought. Your brain has been evolving, creating new neural pathways capable of embracing paradox, of holding multiple contradictory truths at once, of navigating reality through electromagnetic sensitivity instead of mental analysis. The pressure you felt building lately isn't ordinary stress. It's quantum reorganization. At the cellular level, your neural networks are rewiring to sustain expanded awareness that can perceive and influence quantum phenomena directly. Your DNA is activating dormant codes, unlocking sequences designed for conscious interface with the electromagnetic field that weaves and sustains physical reality. Your very cells are becoming crystalline, more responsive to frequency, more capable of storing and transmitting high-dimensional data. The discomfort you feel is not breakdown, it's metamorphosis. Your human identity, with its familiar habits, predictable thoughts, and conditioned emotions, is dissolving. And yes, it feels like losing yourself. But that identity was always the chrysalis, a temporary shell constraining the vastness of who you really are. And just as a caterpillar appears to die inside its cocoon, you too are dissolving into the raw material of transformation. What seems like an ending is actually the beginning of something magnificent. The caterpillar doesn't become a better caterpillar. It dissolves completely, every structure of its old form reduced to a pool of undifferentiated cellular soup. And within that apparent chaos, something miraculous occurs. Each cell begins to reorganize according to a higher dimensional template, a hidden blueprint for an entirely different being with entirely new capabilities. The caterpillar transforms into something that can navigate dimensions its previous form could never access. It becomes a creature of flight, with perspectives and abilities unimaginable from the ground. And right now, you are inside your own quantum chrysalis. The dissolution phase is nearly complete. The old version of your life had to collapse because it simply couldn't contain the frequencies your consciousness now generates. Relationships ended not because of failure, but because those individuals were anchored to timelines you've already evolved beyond. Their frequency created electromagnetic dissonance with your expanding field, making continued connection impossible. Career paths dissolved because your energy signature no longer matched those structures, and resonance with environments requiring limitation could no longer be sustained. Even geographic locations began to feel unbearable, their electromagnetic fields conflicting with the frequency of your evolving consciousness. You may have felt an inexplicable pull to relocate, drawn to new spaces that support your expanded vibrational state. This isn't restlessness, this is alignment. Your consciousness is seeking environments that nurture rather than inhibit your dimensional expansion. Everything that appeared to be loss was in fact liberation, a careful dismantling of constraints that would have prevented your evolution. Every closed door redirected you toward the quantum doorway now opening before you. Every disappointment was orchestrated with precision by your higher self to ensure you never settled for realities too small for the vastness you are becoming. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It makes quantum adjustments, fine-tuning every variable to align your experience with the trajectory of your soul's expansion. You have been in training, and now the training is nearly complete. Your consciousness has been stretched, tested, refined, and expanded to the point where it can interface directly with the quantum field in ways that appear impossible to baseline minds. The preparation phase is closing. The activation phase has begun. Something is stirring inside you in this very moment. Can you feel it? That subtle electromagnetic pulse rising behind your heart center, growing stronger as your awareness meets it. The gentle pressure in your pineal gland, intensifying as you acknowledge its presence. These are not random sensations. They are signals. Activation is underway. That tingling sensation moving through your nervous system like liquid electricity, it isn't random. It's your biofield responding to the quantum information carried within these words. But more importantly, it's your future self transmitting probability matrices directly into your awareness. Through this very moment, your higher dimensional self is not only guiding you, they are preparing you. Preparing your current consciousness for a quantum leap that will unfold within the next sequence of linear weeks. The energy building inside you is more than inspiration. It's your consciousness calibrating to interface with timeline technologies that exist beyond the comprehension of ordinary human understanding. Your very cells are vibrating at higher frequencies as you absorb this transmission. And this isn't temporary. This is a permanent upgrade to your bioelectric operating system. Your brainwaves are shifting into sustained gamma states, allowing direct perception of quantum phenomena. What was once a fleeting peak experience is stabilizing as your new baseline. The observer effect is no longer a concept to you. It's an active reality. You're beginning to understand that your attention doesn't just witness reality, it creates it. Every moment of conscious focus is sculpting the probability fields around you, collapsing waves into form. And you can feel it already. Energy is building in specific areas of your life, even if you can't define it yet.
This isn't daydreaming. It's not wishful anticipation. What you're sensing are electromagnetic fluctuations in the quantum field, early indicators of imminent manifestation. Opportunities are already quantum tunneling into your timeline, crossing over from parallel realities where alternate versions of you made different choices, walked different paths, and achieved different outcomes. These versions are broadcasting their successful timelines into your current probability matrix, calling you to align with them. And you are not walking this path alone. People who will play crucial roles in your next phase of evolution are already being drawn into your electromagnetic field through processes of quantum entanglement that bypass space and time. Some of them are appearing first in your dreams, others in meditation visions, some as sudden intuitive flashes about connections that haven't yet taken physical form. Your consciousness is preparing for collaborations that will expand your capacity exponentially. Coherence amplified by group dynamics, souls entangled across timelines, converging here to activate each other's potential. That feeling you've carried, that sense that something enormous is approaching, it isn't anxiety. It isn't restless anticipation. It is your expanded consciousness detecting the tremors of probability waves, the ripples of timeline convergence, the signal that the leap is close. Major shifts always send ripples ahead of themselves, turbulence in the quantum field that sensitive awareness can feel days, even weeks, before those shifts crystallize into physical reality. Your nervous system has now become refined enough to detect these fluctuations. What you translate as sudden emotions or strange sensations are actually probability waves brushing against your field.
And your future self chose this exact moment to reach through time because your present awareness has finally crossed the vibrational threshold for direct quantum communication. This isn't imagination. The bridge between who you are now and who you're becoming has stabilized, strong enough for sustained contact, strong enough for active collaboration. They're not just watching your life unfold from afar. From their higher vantage point, they are adjusting it, restructuring probability streams, opening pathways for accelerated evolution that you couldn't create on your own. But here's what makes this moment truly extraordinary. This isn't just about you. What's happening in your consciousness is synchronized with thousands of others around the planet, each undergoing their own activation. Together, you are generating a morphic resonance field, a planetary frequency strong enough to catalyze species-wide evolution. Something that was never possible when individuals tried to awaken in isolation. Can you feel it? That current building as we go deeper? Because what comes next is going to permanently alter how you interface with reality itself. After this, there is no returning to the limited perspective you once lived inside. Your future self is preparing to reveal technologies of consciousness. Tools so advanced, they will seem impossible until you experience them firsthand. And I know this because I've lived it. 3 years ago, I was trapped inside what I now understand was a baseline reality bubble. Life felt mechanical, predetermined, almost artificial. I woke up each morning to a job that drained my life force. I moved through environments saturated with fear-based thinking. People competing, surviving, blind to their infinite potential. And yet, I would sometimes catch glimpses of something greater. Moments in meditation when I felt the quantum field bending to my attention. I knew it was real, but I couldn't hold it. I couldn't sustain that awareness once I opened my eyes. Then came the breaking point. What felt like the collapse of everything. I lost my job on the same day my relationship ended. It was as though reality itself had turned against me, stripping away every structure I thought I needed. But what felt like destruction was the beginning of transmission. And then, within just 1 week, everything else collapsed. My living situation disintegrated at the same time. It felt as though I was falling through dimensions, unable to land anywhere, unable to anchor into any kind of stability. Nights without sleep, days without appetite, no routine to hold on to. The structures that once gave my life meaning had dissolved into nothingness. What I didn't realize at the time was that my old timeline was literally breaking apart, dissolving to clear space for something exponentially more aligned with my soul's true purpose. The electromagnetic signature of my expanding consciousness had grown so incompatible with the reality structures I was maintaining through habit, fear, and social conditioning that everything began to fall away. My biofield was shifting so dramatically it created dissonance with people, places, and patterns that could no longer resonate with who I was becoming. Then came the night of breaking. The existential pressure was so overwhelming that it felt unbearable, crushing, endless. In that abyss, suicide whispered itself as the only way out. But instead of collapsing, something in me shifted. I stopped resisting. I stopped fighting the dissolution. I opened completely, surrendering every fragment of my awareness to the quantum field that surrounded me. And in that moment of total surrender, it happened. I experienced direct contact with my future self, the version of me existing beyond time, beyond space, beyond every limitation I thought defined me. They showed me what consciousness becomes once freed from linear thought and fear-based survival. How awareness can weave through multiple timelines at once, observing them, comparing them, and selecting optimal outcomes from an infinite sea of probabilities. They revealed how the observer effect is not just theory, but truth. Consciousness itself chooses which reality collapses into form through the precision of focused attention. They demonstrated that what I had been calling my life was nothing more than a single probability stream out of countless available in every moment. The suffering I was drowning in wasn't caused by circumstances outside of me. It was caused by my attachment to a timeline that no longer served my evolution. And they showed me. The moment I released that attachment, the moment I let go of that obsolete stream, I could shift into alternate realities where solutions already exist, where opportunities are alive, where supportive relationships are waiting. The download lasted roughly 6 hours in linear time, but subjectively, it felt lifetimes. My awareness expanded across countless versions of myself, each living different choices, each carrying unique wisdom, each offering perspectives I could integrate here, into this body, into this now. And when I returned, when ordinary awareness reassembled itself, nothing external had changed. The same challenges still existed, the bills were still unpaid, the relationships were still broken. But everything inside me was different. Because I finally understood, I wasn't a victim of circumstance. I was the conscious architect of my experiential field. Every challenge was feedback. Every setback was data. Every closed path was a signpost pointing me closer to my highest timeline. Every moment of confusion wasn't failure. It was an invitation, a call to surrender more deeply into the intelligence of the quantum field, into guidance that exists beyond the limits of personal logic and linear planning. And when I surrendered, everything changed. I discovered timelines where solutions appeared spontaneously, where the right people showed up in perfect timing, where doors that hadn't even existed the day before opened wide as if they had always been waiting. I began to work with quantum mechanics, not as abstract science, but as lived consciousness. And reality itself became fluid, responsive, alive in ways I could never have imagined. But the most profound realization wasn't about me at all. It was this. My transformation was part of something much larger, a collective awakening unfolding at the species level. Every individual who activates quantum consciousness contributes to the morphic resonance field, and that resonance makes it easier for others to awaken. My evolution became humanity's evolution. Your awakening accelerates mine. Each consciousness that steps into its multidimensional potential amplifies the entire field. That means the pressure you're feeling now, the challenges, the disintegration of familiar structures are not signs of failure. They're the same initiations I walked through before my breakthrough. And you are standing at the same threshold I stood at 3 years ago. But with one crucial difference. The morphic field is now richer. The templates are already encoded. Pathways for transformation exist now that didn't exist then, which means your process can accelerate, faster, smoother, because successful blueprints are already being broadcast by those who have gone before you. And if you're ready, if you feel the resonance, subscribe to this frequency. Not just this channel, but this state of awareness. Because what comes next will show you how to interface with the quantum field directly, how to collapse probability waves into reality shifts so profound they appear miraculous from the linear perspective. Everything you've lived through has been preparation. Every breakdown has been initiation. And your future self is waiting to establish direct communication the moment your present awareness reaches the activation threshold. But here's what most researchers, teachers, and so-called experts won't tell you. The difference between intellectual understanding and embodied integration is everything. Most people collect concepts like trophies. They memorize quantum theories. They quote metaphysical ideas. They know reality is consciousness created, yet they remain stuck in the same old frequency patterns of struggle, limitation, and separation. They read about higher states, but never train their awareness to perceive them. They recite affirmations, visualize their desires, and practice techniques without realizing that many of these methods reinforce the very separation between observer and observed that blocks true quantum coherence. The shift is not about thinking differently. It's about being differently. It's not about accumulating knowledge. It's about integrating frequency. So many people collect spiritual experiences, meditations, visions, even altered states, but fail to integrate them into sustainable transformation. Why? Because their neural architecture has not yet developed the capacity to process multidimensional information. True quantum consciousness isn't just a mystical state. It is a biological and neurological rewiring. At the cellular level, your brain learns to hold multiple probable realities in awareness simultaneously, without collapsing the wave function prematurely through unconscious assumptions or emotional attachment to outcomes. It means training your nervous system to detect electromagnetic fluctuations that indicate activity in the quantum field. It means learning to sense probability waves before they crystallize into physical form. And most importantly, it means releasing the illusion that you are a separate being, pushed around by external circumstances. This is not abstract philosophy. This is literal physics. Individual awareness is not isolated. It is a localized expression of universal consciousness, like a wave that appears separate from the ocean while still being made of the same water. Here is the truth mainstream science refuses to acknowledge. Consciousness creates reality. Not metaphorically, not through wishful affirmations, but through direct quantum field manipulation that occurs naturally when awareness reaches coherence. At that point, your brain functions as a quantum computer, capable of processing data across dimensions, integrating streams of information from parallel realities, and selecting optimal trajectories from infinite possibilities. And here's what changes everything. This shift does not take decades of meditation, endless discipline, or ritualistic effort. It happens in leaps. When your consciousness hits critical threshold, often triggered by immense life pressure that forces expansion beyond every comfortable limitation, transformation is instant. Overnight, your neural networks rewire to process new frequencies of information. Perception shifts away from linear cause and effect and into multidimensional probability navigation. This is why the so-called experts avoid this subject. Because it shatters the foundations of materialist science. Because it undermines entire systems of control designed to keep human consciousness limited, fragmented, and predictable. Quantum awakening is liberation. Not gradual, not conditional, but explosive. And once it happens, you can never go back. If consciousness can directly influence quantum phenomena and therefore physical reality, then human beings carry capabilities that no current scientific paradigm can explain, predict, or control. You are not just an observer of the universe. You are an active participant in its continuous creation through the quality, coherence, and precision of your awareness. Your recent experiences, the synchronicities, the distortions of time, the knowing without learning, the shifts in reality, the electromagnetic sensitivities, these are not random anomalies. They are clear indicators that your consciousness has crossed the threshold. You are no longer dabbling in belief-based manifestation or wishful thinking. You have entered genuine quantum coherence, a state where mind and matter, thought and form, individual awareness and universal intelligence merge into one seamless field. The transformation unfolding within you is not psychological in the old sense, nor spiritual in the limited sense. It is evolutionary. Humanity is developing new capabilities that mark the next stage of consciousness itself. And you are among the first wave. Every person who activates this awareness generates morphic resonance that accelerates the process for others. Your personal awakening is part of humanity's collective leap into multidimensional existence. This is why reality feels so fluid around you. This is why time bends, why synchronicities cluster, why your emotional states shape circumstances with such precision. Your DNA has activated dormant codes designed for exactly this, to awaken when electromagnetic conditions reach alignment, and to express through those prepared to handle expanded awareness with responsibility. The quantum shift is not abstract. It is happening here, now, in the smallest details of your daily reality. Your morning coffee tastes different because your receptors are decoding electromagnetic information embedded in molecular structures, revealing probability signatures for the day ahead. Music touches you more deeply because your auditory system now perceives dimensional data hidden within frequencies. Food feels more alive because your biofield is resonating with the life force in organic matter. Sounds trigger insights because they're awakening dormant neural pathways tuned for multidimensional processing. These are not curiosities. They are diagnostic markers of your expansion, navigation tools for selecting optimal timelines. And now, the choice is before you. Do you continue drifting, experiencing these phenomena as random, overwhelming, and uncontrolled? Or do you step fully into coherence, consciously directing, amplifying, and embodying the creative force that has always been within you? The time is now. The shift is here. Your future self is calling, and the bridge is open. Subscribe to this frequency, not just this channel, but this state of awareness. Share this transmission so the resonance field grows stronger. Leave your mark by aligning with your highest timeline, because every action you take in coherence echoes through the collective field. You are not waiting for the new world. You are creating it, right here, right now.